The Wizard's Tower and the Kindly Goblins. In the heart of Farawayland, where the trees whispered secrets and the rivers sparkled like liquid starlight, stood a tall, crooked tower made of blackened stone. This was the home of Zalthor, the wicked wizard, whose heart was as cold as the frost that never melted on his tower's peak. Zalthor cared for nothing but power, and he used his dark magic to frighten the creatures of Farawayland, demanding they bring him treasures and obey his every whim. But Zalthor wasn't alone in his tower. He had a troop of goblins, small, green-skinned creatures with big eyes and pointy ears, who scurried about cleaning his tower, cooking his meals, tending to his every command. Everyone in Farawayland thought the goblins were as mean as their master, but that wasn't true. The goblins, Gimble, Tumble, Pip, and Sprig, were kind at heart, forced to serve Zalthor because of a magical spell he'd cast long ago, binding them to his will. One sunny morning, a brave little rabbit named Poppy hopped through Farawayland, her fluffy tail bouncing with every step. Poppy had heard stories of Zalthor's cruelty, how he turned squirrels into stone statues for fun, and made the flowers wilt with a wave of his hand. But she'd also heard whispers from the sparrows that the goblins weren't bad. They sneaked crumbs to the birds, the sparrows chirped, and fixed broken nests when Zalthor isn't looking. Determined to help, Poppy crept up to the tower's base, where she found Gimble sweeping the steps with a tiny broom. "Psst," Poppy whispered. Gimble jumped, his big eyes wide. "Don't hurt me," he squeaked, dropping his broom. "I'm not here to hurt you," Poppy said gently. "I want to free you and stop Zalthor's meanness." Gimble's ears twitched. "Free us? Oh, that's impossible. Zalthor's spell is too strong. He keeps the magic binding us in a crystal orb at the top of the tower." "Then we'll break it," Poppy declared. Gimble looked nervous, but called for Tumble, Pip, and Sprig. The four goblins huddled with Poppy, their voices low so Zalthor's enchanted ravens wouldn't hear. They told her how Zalthor used the crystal orb to control them, forcing them to do his bidding. But they also shared their secret. They'd been hiding bits of magic, tiny sparks stolen from Zalthor's spells, in a jar under the floorboards, hoping one day to use it against him. "We can't get to the orb ourselves," Pip whispered. "Zalthor's traps would catch us. But you're small, Poppy, and quick. Maybe you can sneak past." Poppy's whiskers quivered with excitement. "I'll do it, but you have to help me get inside." That night, when the moon hung low, the goblins led Poppy through a hidden tunnel. Under the tower, Tumble carried a glowing mushroom to light the way, while Sprig hummed a quiet tune to keep their spirits up. The tunnel led to a dusty staircase inside the tower. "Be careful," Gimble warned. "Zalthor's traps are everywhere. Fire spells, sticky vines, and worse." Poppy nodded, her heart thumping. She dodged a glowing rune that would have turned her to ash, then leaped over a vine that tried to snag her paws. The goblins cheered her on in whispers, their big eyes shining with hope. Finally, she reached the top of the tower, where Zalthor slept beside the glowing crystal orb, snoring loudly under his pointy hat. Poppy tiptoed forward, her tiny paws silent on the stone floor. But just as she reached for the orb, Zalthor's eyes snapped open. "Who dares disturb my tower?" he roared, raising his wand. A bolt of green lightning shot toward Poppy, but she dove behind a table and the spell hit a mirror, bouncing back and singeing Zalthor's beard. Downstairs, the goblins heard the commotion. "We have to help her," Sprig cried. They grabbed their jar of stolen magic and raced up the stairs, dodging traps with the nimbleness only goblins could muster. When they burst into the room, Zalthor was chasing Poppy with sparks flying from his wand. Pip flung the jar at the orb, and it shattered in a burst of golden light. The magic spell broke, and the goblins felt their chains vanish. "Stop!" Gimble shouted, braver than ever. The goblins linked hands, and their stolen magic sparked between them, forming a glowing shield. Zalthor's next spell bounced off it, hitting his own wand and turning it to dust. Furious, he lunged at them, but Tumble tripped him with a broom, and Sprig tied his robes in knots with a flick of goblin magic. With Zalthor tangled and powerless, Poppy hopped onto the broken orb's pedestal. "You're done being mean, Zalthor," she said. The goblins, now free, used their magic to bind Zalthor in vines that wouldn't hurt, but wouldn't let him escape either. They sent a message to the creatures of Farawayland, who came to decide his fate. The wise old owl, leader of the forest council, declared that Zalthor would stay in his tower, but only to fix all the harm he'd done, like turning statues back into squirrels and replanting the wilted flowers. The goblins were hailed as heroes. They moved out of the tower and built a cozy village in Farawayland, where they baked pies for the rabbits, sang songs with the birds, and taught everyone their cheerful goblin dances. Poppy visited often, bringing carrots to share, and the goblins never forgot the brave little rabbit who believed in their kindness. And so, in Farawayland, where the rivers sparkled and the trees whispered, the goblins lived freely, proving that even the smallest hearts could hold the biggest courage. And Zalthor? He grumbled and groaned, but deep down, even he began to learn a little kindness from the goblins' example. The end.